Welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into a character you wanted to know more about, Toji Fushiguro from Jujutsu Kaisen. You've given us a really interesting mix of articles and character breakdowns. So it seems like you're interested in going beyond Toji's reputation as the sorcerer killer. Let's see what makes him tick, and if he's more than just a villain.
That's exactly what intrigued me when I first encountered Toji. He really throws a wrench into those typical villain tropes. You'd expect him to be this straightforward antagonist, but he's far more nuanced. Toji's complexity stems from his background, his motivations, even his internal struggles.
For those who might be new to Jujutsu Kaisen, could you give us a quick rundown of the world and how someone like Toji fits in, or doesn't?
In Jujutsu Kaisen, curses are physical manifestations of negative human emotions, posing a real threat to humanity. Jujutsu sorcerers, our heroes, are these incredibly powerful individuals who use cursed energy to battle these curses. Toji, however, is unique. He completely lacks cursed energy.
Wait, he's considered a threat to sorcerers, but he doesn't even have cursed energy. How does that even work?
He's a fascinating anomaly. You see, Toji was born with a heavenly restriction, a binding vow that grants him superhuman physical abilities and immunity to curses in exchange for his innate cursed energy. It's like trading magical power for raw, honed strength and resilience. It really makes you question, what would you sacrifice for power?
And this is where his story takes a turn, right? He's born into the Zenin clan, a prestigious family of powerful sorcerers, but he's treated as an outcast.
It's a brutal irony. Imagine being surrounded by prodigious sorcerers, steeped in tradition and power. Yet you're deemed worthless because you lack the one thing that defines them. It's no surprise that this rejection profoundly shaped his worldview. You can imagine how profoundly this early rejection shapes his worldview, even leading him to question the very values of the Jujutsu world.
And this rejection fuels his actions later.
Absolutely. This brings us to his complicated family history. He has a son, Megumi, with his first wife, and later becomes a stepfather to Sumiki. But then he makes the difficult choice to leave them both. He even sells Megumi back to the Zenin clan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to process.
Yeah. It's a decision that really makes you pause. Was it an act of cruelty? A desperate attempt to secure his son a place in a world that had already rejected him? Or perhaps a mix of both? This internal conflict really highlights the moral ambiguity surrounding Toji.
He's definitely more than a one-dimensional antagonist. So how does this all play into his reputation as the sorcerer killer?
Yeah.
That seems significant.
It all comes to a head during the Star Plasma Vessel incident. The Star Plasma Vessel is essentially a source of immense cursed energy, vital to maintaining the balance of the Jujutsu world. Toji is hired to assassinate Riko Amane, the girl who is this generation's Star Plasma Vessel.
High stakes. And to succeed, he has to go up against some of the most powerful sorcerers.
And he does. He even faces off against Satoru Gojo. Now, you have to understand, Gojo is considered the pinnacle of Jujutsu sorcery, practically invincible.
So what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object?
Let's just say, the fandom was shocked.
Toji actually manages to kill Gojo. I have to admit, I didn't see that coming.
Right. It's a seismic event in the Jujutsu Kaisen world. It really throws into question everything we thought we knew about power. But more importantly, it proves that Toji's strategic mind and physical prowess are a force to be reckoned with, even against sorcery of that caliber. And, of course, he does ultimately achieve his objective, killing Riko and fulfilling his contract.
So, he's on top of the world, or at least he's achieved this seemingly impossible goal. Where does the story go from there?
Well, in Jujutsu Kaisen, things are rarely that simple. Toji might be powerful, but he's still human.
And Gojo?
Not quite human. At least by the standards of this world. Remember that near-death experience we talked about? Let's just say it unlocked a new depth to his abilities, allowing him to access a technique he hadn't mastered before.
I said there's a rematch.
There is, and it really highlights the difference between raw power and refined technique. Gojo, now even stronger, is able to overpower Toji.
It's a heartbreaking turn, really. Toji fought so hard, sacrificed so much, only to be undone by the very powers he never possessed. But you might think this is where Toji's story ends. But Jujutsu Kaisen has a few twists in store. Years later, during the Shibuya incident, he's brought back. Though not in the way you might expect.
What do you mean?
His distant relative, Ogami, uses a forbidden technique to bring Toji back, essentially transplanting his soul into the body of her grandson. She must have weaponized his abilities.
Yeah.
But this resurrected Toji isn't the same man we saw before.
This is where the story gets really interesting for me. We're no longer just talking about a skilled assassin. We're delving into questions of the soul, identity, what makes us who we are. What's fascinating here is that this resurrected Toji is driven by instinct, a shell of his former self with a singular focus: fighting. Imagine the terror of sorcerers facing this seemingly unstoppable force, knowing it was once the man who defeated the unbeatable.
And remember, he still can't use cursed energy. Every victory is a testament to his skill, his cunning, his sheer willpower honed over years of fighting for survival. But is it really him, or just a pale imitation?
It's a question that haunts this arc, and I think it speaks to a universal fear of losing ourselves, of becoming a ghost in our own lives.
And this resurrected Toji, he's facing off against these powerful sorcerers, breaking into domains, all while being controlled by someone else. It really makes you think about what it means to be free, to be in control of your own destiny.
It adds such a tragic dimension to his story. This man who fought so hard to break free from the expectations of his family, from the limitations of his own body, is ultimately reduced to a pawn in someone else's game. It really makes you wonder, is this resurrected existence a mercy, a curse, or something in between? It's a question with no easy answers, especially within the morally gray world of Jujutsu Kaisen. But it's this complexity that makes Toji's story, even in the second tragic form, so captivating. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. You know it's going to be devastating, but you can't look away.
And it makes you wonder, how much of his earlier choices, his drive to become the sorcerer killer, stemmed from this inherent desire to break free, to carve his own path, even if it meant going against the entire world?
It's a fascinating question, and it speaks to something we haven't really touched on yet: Toji's enduring popularity.
It's interesting that you bring up his popularity. Even though he commits some truly awful acts, he's a fan favorite, people connect with him. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's a testament to the power of good storytelling. Even in a world of cursed spirits and superhuman battles, it's the human struggles that resonate most deeply.
Yeah.
Toji's pain, his resentment, his fierce love for his family, those are emotions we all understand.
Right.
He's a reminder that everyone has a story, even those we perceive as villains.
And you can't discount the impact of the voice acting. Both Takito Koyasu, who voices Toji in Japanese, and Nicolas Royer in English, are known for portraying these incredibly complex characters. They bring a certain gravitas and nuance to Toji, making his internal struggles, his pain, even more palpable.
It's like they breathe life into him, beyond the words on the page.
Exactly. So, as we look back at everything we've uncovered about Toji Fushiguro, the skilled assassin, the devoted yet flawed father, the resurrected weapon, we have to ask, is he ultimately defined by his actions? Or is there something more there? Was he a villain, a victim of circumstance, or something in between?
I don't think there's a single answer. He's a cautionary tale about the destructive nature of resentment, how it can fester and warp even the strongest of wills. But he also reminds us that even in the darkest of circumstances, there's still a flicker of humanity. He loved his children, even if he couldn't express it in conventional ways.
That seems to be a recurring theme, this profound capacity for love existing alongside a capacity for violence.
He embodies that contradiction. Toji's story challenges us to examine our own perceptions, to acknowledge that the world isn't black and white. There's a lot of gray area, a lot of what-ifs that make his character. And really, Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole, so compelling.
He definitely leaves us with a lot to think about. As we wrap up our deep dive into Toji Fushiguro, I keep coming back to that question of what if? What if he had received the acceptance he craved? If his immense strength and skill had been celebrated instead of feared? Would he still have become the infamous sorcerer killer? It's a question that lingers, especially as we see his legacy play out in the lives of his children, who inherited his strength and are navigating their own paths within the complex world of Jujutsu sorcery. This has been a fascinating deep dive, and a great reminder that even the most seemingly straightforward characters can surprise us. Thanks for joining us as we explore the depths of Toji Fushiguro. Until next time, keep exploring those complex characters. And remember, sometimes the greatest battles are fought within